Good morning. It is 10:03 a.m. on Friday, May 26th, 2017. I'm Christiana Ellis, and I just got up. This is 5 more minutes. So, I'm here in the hotel here at Balticon. The con proper hasn't started last night, but I did meet up with some good con buddies last night, and we had Chinese food and played a whole bunch of Cards Against Humanity, and I retired as champion. I mean, they maybe kept playing after I left, but I was in the lead. But what I want to talk about today is actually an idea that occurred to me from a specific card combination last night, which is that there really ought to be a crossover comic story between Batman and the Care Bears. I know that's going to sound crazy at first. It's going to sound just like a bad. It's like a silly idea that's, you laugh because it's so ridiculous. But hear me out, okay? Obviously, there's a tonal difference in the typical stories from each side. However, lots of times when you're doing a crossover, that's kind of the point, is to bounce two tones off of each other and see what happens. But let's think a little bit about just theme, right? What are the Care Bears all about? Well, when people feel bad or don't treat each other well, they head out there to try to help, to show that by caring and by acting well towards our fellow beings, you can make the world a better place. Isn't that kind of what Batman does too? Think about it. He's taking his own tragic past and he is using that as motivation to help him go out into the world and spare anyone else having to feel that pain. Right? Now, obviously, his methods are somewhat different, but he's also facing different enemies and therefore needs to take that into account. However, don't you think that a story in which one of Batman's villains doesn't need beating up so much as just needs to be understood? Maybe Care Bears could help with that, right? And certainly it might be interesting to see the Care Bears be challenged a little bit with something that's a little bit more of a darker threat than they realized, and to put to the test their cheery optimism. And I think, for all of us reading, we wouldn't want it ultimately to break, but to see it put to the test and to pass through, I think that would be satisfying. And not only that, but when we move past theme and we just talk about like structure, well, I mean, the Care Bears are definitely a team book. And in fact, there's even the Care Bear cousins, and the idea that you have lots of different friends that each have their own skills that you team up together in order to achieve a greater result. I mean, that's Superman or in Justice League and comic book stuff all over. So definitely the types of stories you tell with each fit. But then last of all, let's just talk about imagery. What are the Care Bears? They're these little cute bears or, other animals when we include the cousins that have just their symbol on their belly. And when they do their thing, the Care Bear stare, it lights up and it beams that shape into whatever it is. What is Batman's most prominent image? It is his logo, which is on everything. Everything is bat-shaped. And how do you call him? The Bat Signal. Tell me that is not like the Care Bear stare. You can't, because it is. So, I believe with sincerity that even though it's silly, I think a Batman Care Bear crossover could work. So, I will talk to you guys tomorrow for 5 more minutes.